Okay, so lately I've been playing a lot of F1 2020, and this is currently June 2021, and F1 2021 comes out next month, July 2021. But I only recently got into playing F1 2020 about 3 or maybe 4 months ago. I initially started playing on controller, and I got decent. I wasn't by any means the fastest controller racer on the planet, but I certainly got a little more comfortable with it. I've been racing for a long time with a controller, not necessarily in Formula One games. This is actually my first Formula One game, but in other games, whether it's Need for Speed or years ago it was Project or Midnight Club, I think was the name of the game. So I certainly have a little bit of experience in kind of arcadey games more so than sim racers, and I've never really considered myself a sim racer, just kind of a guy who occasionally likes to play racing games that are on the arcadey side. So by no means am I any sort of racing expert, and I'm not very good. But I did recently get a wheel, and the wheel I got the Logitech G29, and I really love it. It's a lot of fun. It certainly it feels more immersive. I now feel like I'm really racing, which is cool. It's fun. It's exciting. But there is certainly a learning curve, and I have really seen that a lot. This race that you're seeing here is a league race from I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I've had 3 or 4 weeks since then of practicing on the wheel and getting better, so I'm certainly a little better now than I was when I made this video. But if you watch closely in this video, you can see a few times when I'm just maybe making slightly jerky movements, just sort of unnatural looking movements with the wheel. And like I said, those are sort of getting better, but they certainly happened a little bit. But this race, so that you now have the context, is coming in a time when I'm not confident on the wheel. I'm just trying to do my best and try to do clean laps and stay alive. So the start here for me was pretty decent. I qualified 8th, and I don't think that necessarily reflects any speed that I had on the track. I think it was just more a reflection of maybe some of the people behind me were disqualified for track limits, or maybe just spun out or something and didn't get disqualified, but didn't put a great time on the board. But nonetheless, I started 8th. I think I got a pretty good start here. I was a little aggressive on the brakes at one point, and the guy behind me hit me and unfortunately probably damaged his wing a bit, which I feel bad about, but I did manage to keep it pretty clean. I'm 6th place going into this little time. I think I get past here. Yeah, so 7th place. But then here's my first taste. You'll see I don't know if he made contact behind me there, but I was just a little off going into that corner, spun out, and I'm now in 14th out of 16th place. So my first lap started pretty good, going pretty well, and I just sort of I bent it, which is one of the problems that I certainly face a lot in this game, is just keeping it clean, keeping it consistent, keeping it on the track. Sometimes I have to remind myself that it's better to put up a slow lap time than it is to go off track or make contact with another driver, or worse, maybe get myself retired from the session because it was a really bad wreck or something. So I'm constantly struggling with that. I think it's getting better, but you saw it firsthand, and you'll see it more throughout this video too. I think really shortly, actually. I thought this was a decent pass. I think so I stay around him. Thought that was a decent pass. Got up to 13th, and that was on an AI guy. It's a guy who started the race, but then he lost connection or something, so he was out of it. But still, I'll take passes where I can get them. But I seem to remember here I might make contact with the guy. Maybe not. But I do see a guy going to the pits here, so I'm up to 12th place after 4 laps, which is not terrible. I mean, I have the potential to be better, but given how I bent that first lap, I was certainly happy with the way this is going so far. So you'll see here I've got an AI guy in front of me and then a real racer in front of him. And my strategy here, my thinking when I'm in these kinds of positions is really just, again, keep it clean. Let me put good laps up. Let me take advantage of any opportunities of them maybe going off track or them just not getting a great path into the apex or something like that. What my strategy does not want to be is running into the back of guys like you saw me do there. And you may have seen, if you look closely, a little piece of my wing went under my car, which is not ideal. But I was certainly starting to feel the effects right here of not being able to really steer as well. And it wasn't crazy, but after that first contact, I noticed a little bit of problems. But you'll see the AI guy pass the real racer there. But I seem to get myself in trouble pretty quickly again, if I'm remembering correctly. Yep. Oh, yeah. Look at that. I just put the wing straight into the back of that guy, and you may be able to see it there. I go very slowly around that turn because I just had no leverage into the corners. My front wing was so damaged that I basically just had no steering ability. So I kind of limped through this next lap. You see the pit windows open. Fast forward to the pit stop, 11.2 seconds because they had to replace the wing, which, again, you don't want to run into people, but when you do, you end up losing more time than you anticipated just from running into the guy because you end up having to go into the pits and get a new wing, which takes almost 10 seconds on top of the original pit stop time. So that guy kind of spun out there. That comes into play later, but that was Alex, let's call him. So I'm up here in 13th place going into lap 10. And you've already seen me pit, so we're now starting to get to the point of the race where I'm sort of one of the back markers, and the leaders are starting to think about lapping us. And the guys that we race with are pretty fast. Just another sloppy, just right into the back of him. And that was on me, 100%, and it was just dumb. So I damaged my wing for nothing, racing for 13th place, just not being smart about following the guy. But like I was saying, the guys that we race with, a couple of them are really fast. And I know this when I'm in this race. And I'm also, again, at that point in my career where I'm still uncomfortable with the wheel. And it's a decent pass on the AI guy. I was happy with that. But again, I'm uncomfortable. And I knew that we were going to start getting lapped. And this is not my first race with the wheel, what you're seeing here. This was my, I think, second race with the wheel. The first one was a disaster, just an absolute disaster. I couldn't stay on the track. I think I got last place and got lapped twice by the leader, I think, in a 15-lap race or something, which is pretty impressive for the wrong reasons, but pretty impressive. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, I know that the guys in front are fast, and I've seen myself get lapped before, and it's honestly kind of stressful. I don't want to be, if I get blue flags, I don't want to hold the leader up or wreck the leader, ruin his race. I really don't want that. And this is also a league that I created, so I feel like there's even more pressure on me to try to be smart and be good here. But you'll see top left, faster cars approaching, blue flag. I'm kind of stressing a little bit here. And what I should have done in retrospect is go full speed there and wait until this straightaway and let him go by. But I kind of just was trying to get out of his way and honestly ended up probably being more of a pain. But, I guess it was fine. I get myself into trouble here, let this guy pass, and here's the key moment, okay? I get just his back wheel just barely tapped me, but I'm trying to stay out of the way here of the second and third guys. Kind of skidded off along the track there for a minute, but that was pretty much my race. I'm now 16th. I'm not going to be able to catch the guys in front of me unless they spin out or something, and I think I do gain a few spots, but I don't know. My question is, should I be upset about the guy tapping me and going off track? I think that I found myself in a position that I probably shouldn't have been in. I put myself in a bad position. And I'm not saying it was his fault. I think it was probably 50-50, but I do think that he could have given me a little more room than he did. But I would like to hear, if you watch this video, if you play this game, do you think I should be upset or mad, or is that completely on me? Was it completely my fault that happened? Again, another little decent pass on this AI guy. I think I passed him 3 times during this race. Fast forward to the next lap, and some guy spins out here, and I get by him. So 14th out of 16th, and I think that's where I ended the race. Yeah, it was pretty clean after that. Didn't really, I think the guys behind me probably wrecked again, but yeah, I just tried to keep it clean, and so that's the race. 14th out of 16th. I'll certainly bring more for you guys, but thanks for watching, and let me know what you think about the race in the comments.